Welcome to Clear Direction. My name is Mary Lee McRoberts, and I'm your host today. I'm just watching the intro just like you are. It's really exciting to see the launch of this great new network. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about who I am, and then after that I'll take callers. So anybody who's got a question of any kind about the world of energy, about their lives, you're welcome to call. I'm a psychic medium. I know that sounds kind of weird to some people, right? It's like I have the ability to talk to people who've crossed. I'm an energy medicine practitioner. I'm a Reiki master teacher, so I'm a healer kind of person. My passion is to teach people and to help people change their lives. And every single day when I get up, I'm just like so thankful that I get to do this. My background is in business, and I was 30 years. Oh my gosh, I'm dating myself, right? In business, and I was successful, and I had this misplaced idea that it was because I was just so smart. And then I realized over a period of time that it was because I could see the energy and read people. I knew what they were thinking and what they were going to do. And I didn't know that everybody wasn't doing the same thing. It was back before there were a lot of books, and people just didn't talk about anything like that. So somebody would say to me, "Oh, I'm going to ship your product on Thursday." And I'd be like, "No, you're not. You're not going to ship it at all. Actually, this is what's going to happen." But I would think that in my head. So I'm like a lot of other people. We all have an incredible intuitive system built in. We come in with it. And then what happens is over time, we learn, most of us learn not to pay any attention to it, not to listen to it. We're trained to be in this physical world, right? We got to ride bicycles and go to school and drive cars and do all those kind of things. And so our system is set up to allow us, actually sort of empower us the opposite direction, to let go of that connection to the other side. But kids are all just amazing. When you see little kids and they're just so connected, and they're just like in the moment. And when they come in and say, "Oh, Grandma came into my room and sat with me last night," and Mom says, "Grandma died 2 years ago." That child literally isn't making it up and isn't dreaming it in the way that I see things. So this is all about how I see things. That child is connected in the world of energy because we're all, there's just this little veil, they call it. We're all interconnected. It's all different vibration. And I know this is let me go back a step and say, so sometimes when you read or hear about people who are psychic mediums, they fell out of an airplane or off a horse and woke up the next day and they had all these gifts. Well, that didn't happen to me at all. It was just built in. And once I realized that I was receiving information all the time about things that I shouldn't have any idea what I know, then I started to explore and develop the abilities that I have. And we all can do that. Every single person can. So one of the things I love is teaching people, because I can see what their abilities are and help them develop. Like we're all not going to be an Olympic swimmer, right? Some people are swimmers, and some people are wrestlers, and some people are readers, and we're all different. And it's the same thing in the world of energy. Everybody has different gifts that they can develop to be more in tune. So literally, it's your intuition. It's connecting in to your inner guidance. And I want to say, too, that I want to speak for just a moment before we get into phone calls. There's this perception about, people who are psychic mediums or, got a parrot on their shoulder and a long caftan. And certainly there are people like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I really want to help people understand that regular, normal business people can have these amazing abilities, and that this is normal. This is the way that we all can be if we want to take the time to be connected to the other side. This just helps you in your life. So, people who are like really successful, maybe business people are really successful in their lives. I can tell you they all have a great connection to their intuition, to their gut. they listen to what their body's telling them. And I want to demystify that. So I teach classes and I mentor people individually and groups. I love that teaching part of what I get to do. My greatest pleasure is to help somebody open up to their gifts. So as I take calls, I'll take calls about anything, about what you want to know about the world of energy, about energy medicine, about healing, your own life. And I'll do my best to give you some really good information to help you. So we've got some callers in the queue. So if you would just put through the first caller, please. Hi, Carolyn. I recognize you. Hi.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Well, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. What a beautiful picture of you I'm looking at. What a nice composition. It's lovely. What can I do to help you today?
Well, I'm on a big weight loss kick right now, and I'm feeling very motivated, inspired, and just on a new path to be healthy and fit. And I just wanted to know how I can use energy healing to keep that motivation and keep that going for me every day.
So that is an awesome question. I have to say, you know, weight loss is a huge thing for so many of us. I mean, I don't know the statistics, but you know, probably half of us are all at one time or another struggling with that. That's a really good question. So I'll explain a little bit to the audience what I do. So when you're talking, I'm listening to your words, but I'm connecting into your energy. So sometimes when I'm listening to somebody, you might see me, my eyes kind of get a little odd looking, you know, or it's like I'm looking off a bit, and it's because I'm listening to your energy in a different way. So what I'm being told, so that's information coming to me at the time that I'm talking to you. What I'm being told is that there's a huge piece of this that has to do, so this is about self-worth, right? This is about feeling good about yourself. And I know when I've been in a situation where I'm wanting to lose weight, I'm usually feeling pretty crummy about how I look, you know. And so what I'm being shown is that for you, because you have connection to the other side, so I can see that in looking at you, that you have an ability actually to connect to the other side and to receive information. And it's almost like you receive it in, how do I want to say, like pictures or, and they're very precise. It's almost like not a scene gets put in front of you. It's almost like a picture of a thing and a picture of a thing. So they're showing me that around you as I'm looking at you, that you have that ability. So what I would say, Carolyn, is that the most important part about this is to ground yourself down into the earth. It's like to be grounded all the time. That's, you know, go in and do that. I know it's hard to meditate, and especially when we have really busy lives, but even if you can't do that, if you can walk, do something that calms your mind and grounds it into the earth. Like that will help you, because what happens, this is what I'm being shown happens, is that life takes off for you, like it grabs a hold of you, and then all of a sudden that beautiful way that you're feeling just whoosh goes out the door because of all the activity that's around you and all the stress and pressure. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And that helps.
And so it's like, so this is a part of us we think is kind of selfish, but it's not. So you've got to take time for yourself during this process. You absolutely have to take time to do things that make you feel good. And and it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. And I'm sorry if there's a husband or whatever in your life, but you're just going to have to say, this is a priority for me. Like, this is my life. I'm making this great progress. And so I want to stay in this place. It has to do with having a high vibration. So we all are like radio stations, and we run at different frequencies at different times. So when we're feeling bad, we're running at a low frequency, you know, like 95.7. I'm just making that number up. And then as we feel better, you know, like if you walk out and somebody says, oh my gosh, if you lost a lot of weight, you just look great, you know, then boom, that radio station goes right up, right? And you just feel really good inside. So it's about consistently bringing your radio station up to a high vibration so that you stay in that place of allowing your body to shed that weight. So when you're feeling joy and happiness, your body's just running like a really well-tuned engine, right? And then, you know, it's like a car that it doesn't have, this is crazy. So there, I'm being shown a picture of a car that's got a perfectly tuned engine, and when it runs, it doesn't use as much fuel and everything's efficient, right? And it's about being efficient. So if you can look at yourself like an engine, because you are in one way, right? And everything you do, from the kind of food you put in, honor yourself and say, I'm just the most amazing person, because you are, right? You are an amazing person. Look what you've done already. It's about sitting and giving yourself the high five, you know, for being in that place and staying with what you're doing to lose that weight. Your energy feels really good to me. Like when I'm looking at you, I feel some calmness and some joy and some groundedness and kind of an excitement. Like I can feel almost like, you know, when somebody knows they're going to go do something that they've always wanted to do, your energy feels like that to me. So are you feeling like that?
I am, you know, I think I lost weight before and then I gained it back, and I feel like this is my time now, like
Right.
to shine and be good and just focus and center in on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel really great.
See, I can feel, so for everybody watching, her energy, so you can see this in her, right? There's a vibration going on kind of, and it's just a joy. And so for people watching, when you observe somebody, like you can see somebody who's like they're mad and they're like, you know, and it isn't just facial expression. You can feel their body. Even if somebody's smiling at you and they're really not happy, you can tell. We all have that ability. So after this show's over, pay attention to the people around you and pay attention to what you're seeing, but then what you're feeling about them, because it's all about feelings. So Carolyn feels really good to me today, and I really want you to believe that you can have a different outcome this time. I think you're going to. There's a shift in your energy. I see it's like a door's open in front of you, and it's like you're walking in. It's really lovely. I see that when there's opportunity and change in somebody's life, and sometimes if the person's not looking at the door, that'll tell me one thing, but the door's in front of you. It's open and it's light, and it feels really good to me. So whenever you have a moment where you're like, oh, this is kind of hard, right? Just put that door, think about that wide open door with the light in it. Just close your eyes and see that in front of you and know that you're walking into a really incredible opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thanks for calling today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. So it's important for everybody to pay attention about looking at people and feeling their energy, because how people look through our eyes, that's one way, and we're taught to look at people and observe how they are. But the other thing is to feel them. Your body will never lie to you. Your body is the system that we have set up from creation. We're put together like this so that we can feel the energy of people. We can feel. That's why, you know, you'll walk into a meeting or something. You'll meet somebody and you'll be like, ooh, and the guy seems great, and everybody thinks he's great, and you'll be like, ooh, doesn't feel good to me. And then later you'll have a bad experience and you'll look back and say, oh my gosh, I should have listened to myself, right? That's that gut feeling. So all that happens with me is that my systems were all built in sort of bigger than life, I guess, kind of. I don't know how to, I was tuned that way, right? And so I help people tune their system so that they're more open to energy and be able to feel people and sense people and connect. And then from that, all those things can happen, guidance, the ability to see the other side, all kinds of things happen once you actually open that up. But to see somebody like Carolyn be in the space that she's in today, so she's in a really good place energetically. And her concern, of course, is, can I stay there? And I think she will. Okay, so we've got another caller on the line. So who do I have?
Hi, my name is Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Okay, so we have a caller, just so I'll tell the viewers, we have a caller on the line who doesn't have access to the video part of the internet, and so she's coming in through voice only. So what can I do to help you today, Cindy?
Well, Marilee, thank you very much for taking my call. This is going to probably sound kind of a little bit crazy, but I am at a precipice in my life where how do I put this? I'm kind of at one of those lowest levels that you think you are, but in the same essence, I feel like I have so many different feelings, energies running through me that it's hard for me to differentiate it, what's me and what's everybody else. And so as I go through my days and I deal with different people and I talk to them, it's really difficult for me to say, am I feeling myself or am I feeling somebody else? And the worst part is when I go to bed at night, I can't shut that brain off. And it continues to go and go and go. And so what I'm calling you about today is, how can I use energy help to ground myself and really try to push myself forward and know it's just me?
Well, first, Cindy, you're a wonderful communicator. Thank you for that. You're just a lovely communicator. So I'll answer and I'll describe a little bit for people who are watching. So I'm clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, so I have all the clairs. So I feel in my body, and then I'll see pictures and all kinds of things all at once. The first thing that happens to me normally is I get a flood in my body. So as you started to talk, I literally wanted to cry. And I still do.
Oh, sorry.
So I had just this tremendous amount of sorrow coming up. So I'm feeling, so what I'm always being given is the feeling of what's going on with somebody, right? And it might be the feeling that they know, or it might not be, but it's literally what's happening in their body. So everything in the world of energy, everything starts with emotion, right? Energy is emotion, it's vibration. And then it moves, we store it in our bodies as we go through life, and then it impacts us when we don't, when we're not in a place where we're able to process it through at the time that it's happening. So when I was connecting in with you, so literally I just my body started to talk to me, and I just was overwhelmed with sorrow and grief. It tells me that there's a part of you, there's this tough bucket up kind of person, and so I'm going to answer a little differently than what you're asking me, because I'm just being given the information all the time, and I do what I'm told, right? I'm just talking, they're just feeding it. My guides, the people who are working with me on the other side, this pure love, just feeds me the information. Sometimes I don't even know what it means, honest to gosh, but it always makes sense in the end. It's what the person needs. That's what I'm always shown. So literally, so I was being shown that there's tremendous sorrow that's deep inside, and that never got, that didn't get to come out, right? You've had some experiences that, I mean, most people would probably just hang it up, and you didn't. There's a feeling of, first is the sorrow, then what came up for me is it came all the way through my body. I just want to sit and sob. It's like somebody needs to put their arms around you and just hold you and love you. And you're a tough woman, and so you're not, you're just like shouldering it on, and I'll make this work and powering out. That's what you've learned, and this piece of needing to be nurtured and loved and hugged and all that kind of stuff, that needs to happen. And let me just say something else. Then it moved up, and then I'll ask you some questions. But it literally moved up into my throat, and it's about like speaking your truth, right? So you haven't really been able to do that. It's like you've been trapped inside a really difficult situation in your life, and you really can't speak the truth about it. And it's like you're a hostage with it. So does this make sense to you?
Yes, very much so.
And so I can just feel it so much. I just want to cry. It's like,
We both can't cry, so let's not.
well, so that's something that needs to happen for you. Honest to gosh, you just need to have just a circle of women around you, holding you and loving you and taking care of you and letting you cry, or a circle of people, a circle of love. Honestly, that's what needs to happen. And it's just, it's almost like when you see so they're showing me a picture now of like a little child all alone, and like she looks around and everybody's gone, and she doesn't know where she is, and she's not safe, and she doesn't know which way to go, and there's nobody to help. That's the picture that they're showing me now.
Wow.
And I'm so sorry.
No, and that's true though, because that's the way it feels.
So what happens with you, and right at that moment, so you just did, so this is lovely. So what happened, lovely, not because I want to show you what you just did. What you do is you're so strong that you grab a hold of it and you're like, no, I'm not going there. And so then you put it into a language and then you talk about it, right? So this, and you want to move forward and you want to solve it and you want to have everything be great. And you don't want to go down that I can't feel sorry for myself place, because you're scared to death that you kind of won't come out of it, and you don't know how to do that, and you haven't had the experience. You're the supporter of everybody else. You've absolutely made everything work for everybody in your life. You're like that greatest employee. You're the greatest supporter of a friend. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, okay, so let me help you with, so you know the picture of, so they just showed me the picture of when they do the lottery, when they roll those balls in that thing, they turn it and all the little balls are going around. They're showing me that's what happens to you at night. You literally go into your head, because this is worry about everything. This is like, what's going to happen to me? This is the deepest core of you. And all the stuff is running around, and you're trying to figure it out from that perspective of who you are as this great, amazing problem solver, fixer, thinker person. And that's not what's going to fix this. This is you're I don't know if you're going to like this. This is about creating a spiritual, go ahead.
I need to hear it.
Okay. So this is about creating, honest to God, it's just like if you could, I don't know if you need to you need to get a community of people around you that you can be honest with and share. So there's a piece about not being able to share the truth of what's happening keeps you in the dark. It's like, and I know this one, and I think most of us have, when we are challenged, everybody actually has, when we're challenged with something really huge in our life, the most important thing is to open that door, look at it, and then be able to share and bring people in to help us. So if it's a huge wound that we have, and we all have, and I did some work on this in the last couple of years. I know this one. It's like we close in because we're ashamed and embarrassed and afraid to look at it, and afraid that we'll be judged by the situation that we're in. And the people who truly love and care for you are never going to do that to you. It's very isolating. And I can remember just, when I had an experience, not what's happening to you, but something that was a challenge for me. And I remember, oh my gosh, I could never tell anybody. And at the moment that I finally did, after years, the person I told was like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. Oh my God, that's silly. Why are you worried about that? And it's because I was so afraid, right? So this fear underneath all of this. So you're skipping a step here. It's like you're jumping in and you're trying to make it all happen, and you're trying to get out of this whirlwind that you're in. And it's to stop. You've got to find a couple of people you can trust and who have your back, and you open up and let this sorrow go, because it's keeping you held in this place of kind of crazy making stuff. And I know it's counterintuitive to everything that you would want to do.
Right.
But it's true. It's, I mean, they even showed me a church, like go into a church and let's pray. I mean, and I'm certainly not, an organized religious person, although I absolutely, am connected to creation. But it's something like that. It's like
It's finding that outlet.
yeah, well, but it has to be on a soul, spiritual kind of level. It's almost like going to a week-long retreat where you don't speak or something. I mean, it's you're so tough, and I mean tough in a way that's so strong and so capable. It's like you just don't. It's really hard for you to let go. And I mean, let go, like totally let go and trust that the universe is going to take care of you, because there's no part of you that has ever really believed that. You've always had to do it yourself. You've always had to grab a hold and take care of it yourself. And this is about getting to the place where you're like, I give up. I just give up. It's a hard place to be. I really honor where you are now. And I feel like you're closer to a shift than you think you are. The fact that you called me today, it really means something. So it's about trusting. It's about, please, like saying prayers to whatever you believe in, asking for that help, asking for that connection, and allowing that to come in. So it's about letting go, you trying to manage it. Because that's that piece you have that's so good. And when you're on the other side of this, you will be so much stronger than you ever have been this way. And it'll be natural, because the universe will really be supporting you. And if maybe when we're all done, we should have a little bit of a conversation when we're done with the show today, because there's a little bit more that I think I want to talk to you about, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Marilee, thank you for your time today. I think you're wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. And I, bless you for where you are. And I know you want me to give you do this and do that. And it's about letting go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
Thank
Totally.
you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Bless you.
All right.
Oh boy. So, what courage it takes to call and talk about something like that. That's incredible. And so she's facing her greatest fears right now. And there's information that I received about what that is, that when I'm talking to people and we're in person, we're out in the internet or whatever, I'm careful about what I talk to that person about, and share with everybody, just because some things need, she needs to feel safe in this place that she's in, and she's really in a tough place. She's past the middle of it, though. She's moving. I can tell that she's still trying to orchestrate it the way she used to, but she's almost done with it, literally. So I could see like a pond, and she's swimming. She was out in the middle of it, and she can see shore now, right? She's gone past the middle of it, and she can see shore. And she doesn't know what that is yet, but honestly, that's where she is. So, wow. And we've all been there in one way or another, when we have decisions to make in our lives that are really difficult, or when we are afraid of something, because fear is behind all of this change that we make. It's always when we feel that fear, then we freeze up, and so then we try and control it. She's got great abilities. It'll be interesting to see once she's through this process what she ends up doing. So I think it's time for us now to take a quick break, I believe, and I'll be back with another caller. Welcome back to Clear Direction. I'm your host, Marilee McRoberts. So we have a queue full of callers today, so I'm just going to go straight into the next caller, if you'd put them through. So hi, who are you?
Hi. Good. Nice to see you. Thank you for this format. It's nice to be able to call in when you have questions and talk to someone live. So thank you.
That's great. So what's your question for me today, Randall?
It seems like I get a lot of signs lately of change, and I notice a lot of transitions happening in my life, which are very exciting, but also change brings about some anxiety, not only for myself, but my family members, because things are shifting. Things like even moving homes, changing jobs, um, just a lot of change in the air. And so I'm working hard on grounding myself and learning how to meditate and hear myself so I can be more solid in my home for my family. And so just grounding myself and learning how to meditate and hear myself and manage through all the change.
So Randall, and that's a really, all those things are really good things to do. So as you're communicating with me, I'm feeling, so this is huge fear that's coming up. So I'm being shown that there's a tremendous amount of fear. For those people listening, I can feel this like in my third chakra, my gut, right? A fear just pours up. So it's reading your body, maybe not at this moment, but what's happening in your life. And so there's tremendous fear about it, about the change that's happening. It's almost like it's out of control. And there's a part of you that feels excited, but there's another part of you that's got some fear around the outcome of it, and it connects up into your heart. And so I'm being shown that that this has to do with loving and loss, and being afraid that things are going to change, and not just. So when I stop for a second, I'm trying to get sometimes information will pour in, and I'm trying to organize it a little bit so that I can speak with you better. So I'm being shown that you have a lovely, lovely heart, and you wouldn't hurt a flea. You totally are a beautiful, kind, and compassionate person, and feeling this, you're afraid that there can be some hurt to others through all of this change that may be coming. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a part of you that is wanting to make that okay. And one of the things, when I'm being given information in the way that I see how energy works in the world, it's like everybody has to have their own experience. So we're always wanting to when I see people, like after they've crossed over the other side, I'll see like lots of times like a mom, a son talking to a mom, and this is like after everybody's on the other side, and the son will be saying, how come you kept rescuing me? How come you kept rescuing me, Mom? And because it took me, 30 years to do this, and I maybe would have done it in 5 or 10. I'm not saying that particular circumstance, but for you, but I'm saying this literally, that part of us that we want to help and heal and hold a space and don't want harm for those around us and those people we love, family members we love. We then, when we're trying to make it, when we're doing what our heart's telling us, which is keeping them safe, we also are creating an environment where then they don't get to go out and have the hurts that they need to have the growth they need to have, to be able to develop and into who they're supposed to be. It's really hard for moms to do that. And I was being shown that scene because this has to do with your whole family, has to do with kids leaving the nest. Is that what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also the structure of maybe your nest taking on a different form than it does now. So does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So my youngest is just graduated high school, and she's making decisions on what she wants to do, if she's going to travel abroad and such, which is wonderful, and helping her with some of those transitions too, and exploring that on her own. So yeah, so it's my final one out of the nest, so to speak. So yeah,
This is your final one. But it feels like the nest is going to change, and it also feels like there could be some change in the nucleus of the nest. Does that make sense? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So in feeling, so when we progress through our lives, we come in, we make decisions, we make choices, we marry, we divorce, we love, we lose, we do all those kind of things. To have different experiences and based on who we are. And as we move through life, sometimes change comes to us. Like sometimes we change, our environment changes, and then the people who we're in relationships or marriages with, that can also change. There sometimes is, so I'm just being as careful as I can here when I'm talking to you, but it feels like there could be a change that might, that you are in a place where what you need to have, the support you need to have around you, might be different than the support you have now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And in looking at that. So what I'm seeing is that this fear that bubbles up, right? That there's fear about, can I do this? Is this going to happen? Is this the right thing? Oh my gosh, like it's one thing to sort of, it's putting it into a real picture of something, of making something real. There's a fear about that, about stepping out. On one side, I can see you like not afraid of lots of things, but on another piece, this fear bubbles up and it's old stuff. And it's about not wanting to upset the apple cart, not wanting to upset other people, just wanting everything to be nice. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead.
Oh, it's interesting. And just, I just watch for signs around me. And lately I've seen like 3 deer, which is interesting. One in the neighborhood, one when I was up hiking, and one like in the middle of town, downtown. And so it's just, I'm open to seeing signs and trying to figure out what they mean. And even numbers are coming to me in funny ways. And I'm just trying to be more open to see what these things are and be more intuitive with myself and trying to hear myself more, because I know change is coming and I'm looking for guidance. And I think the universe is giving me little gifts out there. And sometimes I don't know what they mean, like these deer, which it's odd to see 3 deer. I don't know if I've seen 3 deer in 3 years, but in a short time, I've seen 3 of them. It's kind of fun to play with that and see what that might mean.
Right. So all those connections, so those are what people might call synchronicities, but literally they're not. So it's the universe. It's your guidance, trying to connect with you, to show you, to give you some affirmation that you're on the right track. Like you're looking for affirmation. Am I on the right track? Is this right? Am I doing the right thing? Mm-hmm. It's like wanting to connect with the other side, taking classes about developing your intuitive ability. So I see, because you see things in scenes, right? It's like in pictures. It's like there's a composition or something in how you look at things. And so that makes sense that you would be wanting to observe, wanting to pay attention to receiving information from the other side. This is about developing your intuitive ability because you're very intuitive. And part of that's not, you've had opposite things happen in your life where your intuition will tell you one thing and yet something else will be saying a different thing. And it's about trusting yourself, that you're feeling, how you're feeling is exactly right. There's a piece of not trusting that kind of got wounded there a bit along the way. And I think it's really important, you know, you're wanting to empower your children as they go out into the world, but this also has to do with empowering you in the world that you're in. So keep track of all those kind of things. That's the universe talking to you. I mean, literally, I was teaching a class a week ago and a voice came through a cell phone when it was in the middle of a song and it was from the other side. It was like, that sounds crazy, right? But literally it was a male's voice telling the group something. I know it sounds crazy wacko, but literally it's not. So as you say to them, keep giving me more, help me. You want affirmation that you're doing the right thing. That's what they're showing me, is you're reaching out to the other side for that. So take classes, develop that, make yourself meditate if you don't meditate now, right? Because the more connection you have, and trust your body, because your body will be telling you the truth, you know? Yeah.
Definitely. I'm working on that, doing meditations. And this weekend, I'm actually going to a spiritual retreat, which will be was difficult to get all things lined up to go, but I just really felt that I should be there. So I'm excited about that.
That's incredible. I'm really happy you're doing that. So that's exactly what you need, is that place of anchor and peace, so that you will so this fear that bubbles up, that's really tough, that you'll be able to disperse that out of your body and get rid of it. So it's really good. You're doing all the right kind of things. Yeah. And time alone, you need time alone to sort all this out. Right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for calling today. Good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. So sometimes when we have a chance in our lives to make big change, right? This is about what's the structure? Is our family going to stay the same? Am I going to be in the same relationship? All those kind of things. People really look to have some kind of affirmation. Am I doing the right thing? Am I going down the right road? I was in that circumstance years ago, and I did the same thing. I know what that's like. So that's wonderful. Okay, so let's take another caller. So hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Lindsay. So what can I answer for you?
So I guess my questions or the problem I'm having is like finding my passion and knowing what my purpose is. And so I'm a stay-at-home mom and I do YouTube videos, but like I feel like there's something heavy on my chest, like I need to be doing more. And recently, just like a week ago, like I became vegan. I'm only been a vegan for a week now, but it's like kind of taken that off my chest a little bit, but I still feel like I just want to know, like, I just feel like there's something more I should be doing, but I can't figure out what it is. Like a lot of other people, they know what their purpose is and what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm just kind of like figuring it out still.
Okay. So it's Lindsay? Lindsay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lindsay, so I can just feel all this, butterflies and anxiety, like real anxiousness about this. So you're feeling a lot of, so where's the pressure coming? You're feeling a lot of pressure I feel like you're feeling a lot of pressure to make some kind of a decision about who you are and what you are. So where's that coming from?
Why? I don't know. It's just how I feel.
So there's
I don't know if I'm.
Go ahead.
I don't know if like I'm just worried too much. Like I need to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing, but like I should just be kind of like enjoying myself as a stay-at-home mom and like doing my hobbies. But I feel like I should be doing more, like something. I don't know if it has to do with my YouTube channel or just me as a person, like what it is. Like I don't know.
Okay, so there's a piece of, so those are really great questions. So I can feel like my throat chakra really active right now. So that's your YouTube channel. You're using your voice to express. But there's a huge I'm feeling this tremendous fear, and it's not down in my solar plexus. It's just anxiety about, anxiousness about who. Let me see if I can find out what's underneath it. There's an anxiousness or an anxiety about creating who you are. There's some pressure. So is there pressure coming to you? So when you so do you feel any pressure from your husband as far as what you should be achieving?
No. Well, he just says basically you should just be enjoying being like a stay-at-home mom and having a family and just relaxing. But I think I feel like my pressure might be it might be my channel because I'm trying to figure out who I am. And I don't know, like I just can't, I don't know.
So I feel like there's a piece of this that has to do with creating your independence and freedom.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah. So as I'm sorting through this information, it comes and comes and comes. So this has to do with sort of like not being trapped, and I mean, it's a big thing. This is an amazing time when women can do all kinds of things in the world, right? Like I hear
Yeah.
a sweet little baby in the background.
Sorry.
But there's a piece of you that that doesn't want to be trapped, and I don't mean trapped like, oh my gosh, but I mean trapped like having your freedom and your independence to be who you are and create what you want, and so you're feeling a lot of anxiety about it. But that anxiety, what I'm seeing is that the anxiety has to do with wanting to totally be free. That piece of us that I'm my own person and I'm free to do what I want whenever I want to, sort of, and I have my own money and I can make my decisions, and we're in relationships, so obviously there's a compromise with all that, but there's a piece in you that wants to keep your independence. Can you relate with that?
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's a little bit of a different. So in your family of origin, what were your mother and father? What were they like together?
Well, they divorced when I was like 6.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just went back and forth between their houses like my whole life. And then I had a stepfather.
Yeah. So the piece of, when we grow up, we all have like wounds. Everybody has wounds. We all do. And so what happens is they put in place ways that we are when we get older. So this piece of having some anxiety has to do, this is what I'm seeing, has to do with having this experience where you kind of weren't really anchored either place, and you want to have your own. It's like I don't want to have any of that kind of business going on. I want my own. I want to create my own anchor and my own strength, all those kind of things, so that I have my own control over what happens in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, and so it has to do, so the first thing I saw was your husband, right? So then is there, show me that picture, and that doesn't mean, he can be the greatest guy in the world. It's nothing to do with that, but it has to do with you, you wanting to have your independence so that you've got your own, so that that you're who you are, and you can sail your ship the way you want to sail it. Even
still have my identity.
Yes, exactly. So that's the piece that's behind this. So the anxiety, the woo comes in because that's old piece. So that energetically, if you see an energy medicine practitioner, they can move that energy out. You can do it as long as you're conscious of it. That's just old stuff. That anxiety is old stuff from being bounced around and your mother not having that security that she had before.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you want to create your own, right? So you're never in a position that you're going to be in a situation that you
exactly.
Yeah. So that's it. So it's an awesome. So now you know it. It's like that's that piece behind it. So don't worry so much. Just relax and let it go. Let it happen. The anxiety. It gets in the way. It's like static energy in your energy field. So just boom. Oh, that's what that is. Now I understand why I feel like that. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
great.
that's awesome.
Well, good for you and your online thing. Go.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, we have time for one more caller then. Okay. Well, maybe they didn't hear me. I think if we have another caller in the queue. There we go.
Hi.
Hi, so what's your name?
Tamara.
Tamara.
Yes.
And what's your question?
Well, of course, it's never just one thing, but the main thing is I've been retired now, traveling with my husband for the last 3 out of 4 years. we've been in one place now for a year, and I always imagined that I would spend that time reinvigorating my own healing practice and putting myself out in the world with my own gifts and abilities. Um, uh, and then the other flip side of that is, well, gosh, Tamara, maybe you should just enjoy retirement. But I've been doing a lot of prayer work and getting some good intuitive hits from Spirit, and I think Spirit's leading me in the other direction. So I was wondering if you had any insights to offer me today.
Yeah. Well, so what's interesting about, as you were speaking, is I had some sorrow come up, some sorrow, and this has to do with your life changing from that work environment to retiring. And I don't, and I guess that wouldn't be, so you retired 3 years ago, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. And so normally everybody's like, oh gosh, I get to retire. That's great. Now I can just do whatever I want to do. But there's a piece of you that has some sorrow around leaving whatever that was that you were doing. So does that make sense to you?
Well, it wasn't so much what I was doing at the time, but probably leaving my known environment and traveling around with his work.
Yeah.
And so a lot was left behind. And so it's the last year trying to get reestablished in a new place and feel like I'm home and feel like I can move forward with something.
Yeah.
That seems, yeah.
And so what I'm seeing when you're talking, so I'm, the pictures that I'm being shown and how I'm feeling. So I felt this sorrow, and I thought it was from leaving the work, but it's from leaving your environment. So I'm being shown, one of those buoys out in the ocean, and then they're bouncing around, right? And then there's a long anchor goes down there. I was a boater for years, so that buoy makes sense to me. So that's why they're showing me that. But literally it's like and it's trying to get a hook, right? It's trying to anchor, and the water's taking it this way and that way, and it's just dragging. It's like it doesn't have its own place to be. So what I'm being shown is that the challenge for you is to create your own safety, and it's not even that. It's like your own life, and you're not in a place. You're not getting to choose what you're. Let me see. Let me say this better. You're bouncing around with the waves, and you're not getting to be in control of what's happening to you now. Does that make sense to you?
Totally. Yes, totally.
And that's the piece. It's like, so to be anchored in, so go back to a practice, you bet, because it's just like they'll show me a different, now the next picture is like at the wind's just taking here, taking you there. It's like you're not getting, so somebody else might go, I'm going to retire and then I'm going to travel around. This has to do with you not getting to choose where you're going. Is that how this is happening? Yeah.
Yes.
So you're just bouncing around with what's happening, and you need to be grounded. You need to bring your practice back. So however that was, whatever that was, because when you connect back into to the universe, and develop yourself, then you literally will be able to then get to see, okay, here's where I am. This is what I want to do. It also has a little bit of something to do with your husband and how you bring the balance of your marriage together. Does that make sense? Yeah. 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 And so that's a right. That's a little theme today, actually. Yeah. So and that is that part of, okay, this is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm not willing to do. Let's look at what's important for me too. Who am I? I want to have some control over my life as well. That we're a partnership. So let's we need to talk about me too, right? And what works for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's more there for you to take a look
Yes.
at, right? Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So, and it's hard, right? Because I'm speaking, sort of skating around it, but you know what I'm talking about. So it's like, then you have to look at everything, right? Oh my gosh, where am I? What is this? What am I going to do with this? How's it all going to work? So they're just telling me that I only have just a little bit of time, like less than a minute. So I love talking with you. And if I've got a website, MaryLeeMcRoberts.com. You can contact me through that if you'd like to, because there's a bit of
thank you so much
work
for your
there.
time, Mary Lee.
Yeah, thank you for the courage to call. I appreciate it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. So a little bit of a theme today, and there always is, isn't it? So whenever we have this fear, this is about walking through fear, looking about what's really right for us, what feels good, what's in our best interest, because it all has to be right, not just our partner. We have to be in a solid, great, wonderful place to be good partners for them too. So, or whatever we decide to choose. So I really honor that people are asking those questions and looking inside themselves and wanting to build, as they build their connection to the universe, it'll be easier for them to do whatever it is that they decide to do. And I want to take a minute to thank you very much for joining me in my show. I'm on every Wednesday from 12 to 1. So, and you can look at the shows archived online if you want to. But I'd love to have you call and so that I can help you with whatever decision, with clear direction, right? With that clear direction. So thank you very much. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And come see me again.